If only pressing a button for the game was that
That
easy.
easy, then cricket would be much more simple. Um, I haven't got a good segue, so welcome to Just Not Crick Pod. Um, episode, I don't know. What episode do you think we're on? That's a quick quiz to start the
Hmm.
pod. 'Cause Jamie is here with me. I won't ask how Jamie is because we've already had that discussion. But you can take it from me, listeners, that he's good. Um, Jamie, how many episodes do you think we have done?
I feel like we're hovering around 50.
50?
I'm gonna say 44.
Oh, 35.
All right, that's
Um, but I think that doesn't count when we did episodes for the T20 World Cup. I think those weren't on Spotify and those kind of channels. So
they,
we may be more
yeah.
40-ish. So
What?
that's a lot of episodes.
So they must have been YouTube exclusive.
Yeah, yeah, so yeah, that's straight off the bat. If you want to get more YouTube exclusives, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Maybe we'll do the same thing for the next T20 World Cup in a matter of months. I imagine so.
And then a few
For
months after that.
the next T20 World
Yeah.
Cup in September and then the one in November. Um, but no, how do you do? Welcome back to some cricket chat. Uh, some general things to do. I thought because we did our wheel of, I'm going to call it wheel of misfortune because I spun Hampshire. Um,
Wheel of
last ep
We6.
we six. Um, so yeah, because all the April fixtures obviously done because we're now in the month of May. I thought it'd be a good way to round up the first four rounds of the county championship. A lot of draws, but just some. But it depends on the team really. Um, kind of get a gauge of where our teams are at a little bit later on, which is happier for one of us and melancholy for another. Um, but the bit of breaking news, first of all, this week is about the T20 World Cup, which we just mentioned, which we're both very excited for in the Americas. Are you excited to head to the US of A and see cricket in New York City?
I am kind of excited to see how it'll like pan out, like what the stadiums are, what the sort of atmosphere and the like. I don't know. India has like dances and fireworks and all sorts of shit on, so I'm really wondering how the Americans will deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, every single picture I see of that stadium they're building for New York, it looks nowhere near done. It's like, well, this is catching up. But they've got India and Pakistan playing for that one in New York, so that's gonna be nuts. Um, I think they got grounds in Florida and Texas as well, I think. But England aren't playing in America, they're just playing in the Caribbean. So I guess we'll have a look at some other games, but on the England stuff, all Caribbean vibes, which is nice vibes. But
Wait,
England
so
announced,
wait, quickly on that, are
oh
West Indies going to be like in Los Angeles and not playing in the West Indies? Because that would just be the most
yeah, I'm
PC thing
pretty
ever.
sure Windies are playing everyone Windies, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
I hope
Um,
they're not. Well, I hope they are for them, but I
yeah.
hope they're not for the memes and for the chaos.
Oh, we shall see. But yeah, I think everyone had to announce their um, provisional squads this week. Happy days. We could go through them all, but I think we'll just go through England's.
No,
Because
no, where the fuck is
I don't
Rinku
have them
Singh?
all. Huh?
Where is Rinku Singh and Shubman Gill?
Oh gosh, right. I'll find some, but first of all, we'll go through England's. Uh,
We can only do England, but that's the only other squad I've seen. That's the only other joke I can make about the squad. So we'll
the
just
only other thing I think I saw that was of any kind of note, because a lot of the squads are kind of what you would expect, unless you know anything about the Canada squad, which I don't. Um, is that Australia um left out a batter called Fraser McGurk, who's been having a great IPL, and also left out Steve Smith. But I don't really think that those are surprises. Um, because Steve Smith doesn't shout out to me as a T20 player really anyway. Um, but I think all the other squads are kind of as you would expect, basically.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, if we focus on um the England's, I'll quickly run it off the bat for you. So we got Josh Butler, Phil Salt, Harry Brook, Moeen Ali, Sam Curran, Liam Livingston, Chris Jordan, Adil Rashid, Mark Wood, Johnny Bairstow, Will Jacks, Ben Duckett, Tom Hartley, Jofra Archer, and Reece Topley. Um, any initial thoughts on that?
I mean, it's fine. It's like you said with the other squad, it's kind of an expected
Yeah,
bunch of players that
yeah.
you would expect England to have for a T20 World Cup.
Yeah, I mean the ones it's got a fair chunk of people from the one which because they won the thing last time, lest we forget. So the ones who didn't make it from last time are Alex Hales, who retired from international cricket, Darren Milan, who's kind of fallen out of favour now, Ben Stokes, who ruled himself out, David Willey, who kind of felt as though he was forced to retire, um, Tamil Mills, and Chris Wokes. I imagine Wokes would have been a kind of toss up between Wokes and Topley because they kind of offer the same. Um, I think Wokes for Topley for the last World Cup. So if Topley got injured again, then I imagine Wokes would come straight in too. Um, we mentioned on the last pod, I don't know if you remember, but another Jamie Overton, was being tipped to be in the squad, but he is injured, so thus he is not in it. I imagine he probably would have had the Chris Jordan space. Um, no Gus Atkinson, our favourite player. Um, no Rayan Ahmed, even though he played four out of the five white ball games in West Indies before Christmas. So they prefer Tom Hartley over Rayan, and yeah, obviously no Wokes. Um, but yeah, I think like you say, it's kind of expected squad really.
Like, I think Rian over Hartley could have been like the most, maybe not most obvious, because Wokes is the
Mm.
most obvious name not in there.
Yeah.
But I think Rian for Hartley is like the most obvious potential upgrade because we've seen Rian do really well with the bat
Mm.
in an
Yeah.
aggressive manner, and Hartley's not played T20 international before.
Not many. He's got a good record in the Blast and the 100, so that's obviously
Yeah,
what they've taken off him. And I guess he offers,
which is fair, but
yeah, and he offers that he's left arm spinner, as opposed to a second leg spinner with Rash and Rayan, I suppose. So I guess if they want that kind of point of difference for spinners, I suppose that's what they're going for. Um, I don't know whether I might have been more inclined for Rayan over Moeen.
mhm.
Um, but that's a whole other kettle of fish, really. Uh, I imagine this will probably be a last hurrah. I said this last time for the 50 over World Cup, but I think England probably have a greater chance in this than they did in the 50 over. Um, but that could be proved very wrong soon, Lise. But I imagine it would be a kind of a last thing for people like Mo and maybe Rash and stuff like that if they were to do well in this tournament. And then Rayan can come in for the Rash spot after that, I suppose. Um,
Like it would have been nice to see David Milan actually be respected
yeah,
and in the squad.
yeah, it's a
Like
very
being
odd one.
well, like he's been the top ranked T20 batsman for ages, but England treat him like he's a fucking Division Two player.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? Especially considering he was. I know that 50 over World Cup was complete garbage and nonsense, but he forced himself into that squad from being undroppable. So they went for him over Jason Roy, and I think he got maybe one or two hundreds in that World Cup. But his 50 over form was great. Um, and he made himself undroppable. But then after that, I mean, I know they wanted to do a clean slate, but it is very easy to drop someone like Milan over one of the others,
Mhm.
you know. Um,
One of the
and I think that's
boys,
a shame.
one of
Yeah,
Hockey's lads.
and I think that's a shame. Though I would say, because the top five will be Butler, Salt, Jacks, Bairstow, Brook. That is a very strong top five. And I know you've been watching the IPL religiously. Um,
Always.
but I think he's just got overtaken. But let me get you some stat attacks. Um, so Salt is actually he's not anymore, but he is the second leading run scorer for an overseas batter in the IPL this year. And he came in after he replaced, don't know who he replaced, but he came in as a replacement player for an injury. So he's played 9 games, 392 runs, highest of 89. That doesn't seem right. I thought he got 100. Never mind. Highest of 89, average of um, 49 and a strike rate, which is ludicrous, of 180. Um, Opening about in the IPL, so he's done very, very well. Butler has got 200, averaging 45, going at 150 strike rate. Just the other day, Bairstow got 108 not out off about 40 balls. Um, I think they set the highest ever record for chasing in a T20 game when he got that 100, when he was just kind of teetering on like, oh, he's doing absolutely nothing still. Should he be selected? And suddenly gets a mad 100. That's just the Johnny way. And then Will Jacks got 100 again off about 45 balls the other day, smashing Rashid Khan for 28 in an over. So that kind of top four is very much in form. Harry Brook is just scoring runs for fun in the county championship as well at the moment. So you would say out of a kind of aggressive top order, they're kind of undroppable, I would say, those five. I think Jax as well offers a bit of the ball too. So um, I think it's good. And I think it's quite good to see they're obviously the future as well with likes of Salt, Brook, and Jax. It's good that they're kind of be the next generation, but they're also in red hot form, shall we say.
Nice little warm up and practice.
Yes,
It's a
the
good thing
IPL.
the IPL form always translates to England form.
Oh, 100%. They're not completely different pitches at all.
Uh, but the like one interesting thing I picked up on that, which isn't England related, is the Rashid Khan over you mentioned. Like noticed a bit in the ODI World Cup that he was still dangerous and like
Hmm.
Afghanistan's go-to bowler, but kind of
Yeah.
you could tell he's kind of coming towards the end of his tenure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't
I,
know if I've got bowling stats here. This is Rashid Khan time. But I know what you mean. I guess he is also a leg spinner, so they are
yeah,
notoriously going to be more easier to get away. I don't have the bowling stat. I think I got rid of them. Um, but he's still a kind of player. I would kind of a bit like Rashid, I guess. Adil one. Um, on his day would still do well. Um, I kind of rate Rashid Khan kind of just as highly with the bat as well. Like
mhm,
I remember his last T20 World Cup when he almost beat Australia single-handedly towards the end of the game.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I would back Afghanistan again to do well this time around. They did well in the 50 over stuff. Um, and it's I heard this earlier on another cricket podcast. I think it's interesting. I know T20 World Cups come around all the time. I guess there has been a bit more. They've been more frequent recently because there were some delays with COVID World Cups, which is fine. Um, but because they're so frequent, that they're also very different. Like the pitches in West Indies are going to be so different to the pitches you had in Australia, for example. And the pitches before that were like in Dubai, which are going to be much more flatter. West Indies, you imagine, going to be a lot more slower. Um, but they are smaller grounds, going to spin more. So that's obviously why people like Hartley and England well go in with like Mo, Hartley, Rash, Jacks, so a lot of spin, Livingston. Um, so yeah, we'll see. It's just I think makes it more interesting when it's different places, not just, England, Australia, and India all the time. Um,
It's just funny that the host nation isn't granted like a place in the tournament to play. It's just like we're just in America. Don't worry about if they're playing or
yeah,
not.
because it's ICC there. That's why.
Uh,
Um, I don't really have much more. I think the only thing I was a bit like about was Chris Jordan. Um, but I've got a quote. Do you want to hear what Rob Key had to say?
Not in general, but sure, go share it.
I found this funny because he said like, "Oh, we've watched CJ for a while now, and his bowling has always been a serious factor for us." I mean, like he's been playing for England for like almost 10 years, so I'm guessing you've watched him for a while.
Yeah,
Um,
you
he
used to
said,
be a fucking pundit, Rob. You better have
yeah,
been watching it for a while.
yeah. So he said the fact that he can bowl at the death, I think that's debatable, has always been something we look for. But his batting seems to have kicked on a bit this time. Having power is a big thing out in the Caribbean, so that's why CJ has comfortably got in there. So I once he had got picked, I was a bit dubious, but then I looked on his kind of recent scores, and he has had a very good International League T20 and PSL with the bat, notably, getting good runs down the order and a few more wickets. But again, like you say, with the IPL, is that really going to translate to international cricket when you're playing against the best of the best all the time, not just some very good players and then some domestic players, you know? And I think Jordan has been notoriously found out. I think in recent years he's played for England. Um, but we'll see. Again, I imagine this would be his last England hurrah, and I think it'd be quite nice that him and Joff as good mates could finish off on a nice high in the West Indies. Um, but we'd see. We haven't really talked about Jofra, but we kind of spoke about it last time that he was going to be picked. Is if he gets through the Pakistan series in this month, then good. But I'm kind of just want to wait and see before I'm like, I can't wait for Jofra.
I still don't believe it. It's not happening. I
But he's in the squad. His name is there.
I mean, well, Stokes also isn't in the squad, and we both know he's going to play.
And he's probably going to captain it.
They'll be like, oh, well, Stokes was our linchpin for the last T20
Yeah.
World Cup with his sort of ODI innings
Yeah.
knocks, which were very good, but
Yeah.
they'll use
Um,
that as an excuse or a reason, whatever they want to call it.
yeah. And you've got kind of this last one, you've got kind of Ben Duckett there, who I'd imagine I'd hope he's not just running a drinks because he's also in very good form and he's also a left-hander and very good player of spin. So he might get a run in at some point. But it's hard for him to get into that top five as it is. Um, but yeah, I guess I'm excited. I don't know.
I
It'll
mean,
be
I'm
something to
not,
watch.
but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe when it comes around, you'll be like, oh, I can't wait.
Uh, we'll do a pod just for that.
Yeah, okay. Get you hyped up, and
Yeah, yeah,
I'll
yeah.
have all the squads then for sure. I think I'm actually excited when it get. I really enjoy the qualification bit at the start. I like all the kind
Mhm,
of those other teams trying to qualify into the main hub, and I think that's always a bit I enjoy most. Um, but yeah, we'll see.
yeah,
It's just because it's every single time it's like India play Pakistan, England play Australia. I'm just kind of like, we do this all the time. We don't need to have these rigged fixtures. Just do a draw.
mhm. Like, no, I agree. Like, you get to watch teams that you never watched before. Like, you get
Yeah,
Papua New Guinea or Oman or whoever,
yeah,
and you get to watch players you've never heard of
yeah, yeah,
play like wild innings or get
yeah,
bad like bowling figures
for sure.
before it's just the boring. Oh,
Yeah,
look,
I know.
Scotland are back. Oh, yeah.
I know, I agree. But let's quick. I think I'm not 100% sure, but the T20 World Cup opening fixture. Let's have a look this year. Um, it's never easy to find. I'm pretty sure it is. Oh, I think they released the anthem today by Sean Paul. Um,
I don't know who
but
that is.
I'll send it to you later. I've not actually listened to it either, so maybe we can do a live reaction. So yeah,
Thanks.
it kicks off in Dallas because it would do with the USA and Canada, which local derby. Um, I mean, again, I know nothing about either team, so I think that could be quite fun. I imagine all the Americans are going to be lining up straight away to get those tickets. I'd have thought. Um, but yeah, then it goes into West Indies and Papua New Guinea, uh, Namibia and Oman. Those are the ones I'm looking forward to. There's Afghanistan and Uganda. I didn't even know Uganda are in it. And that's fun. England, Scotland, Netherlands, Nepal. There's some fun games in there. So maybe I am excited.
More excited for the like
Yeah, teams I've
second
never heard
tier
of.
teams that you don't know
Yeah,
anything about. I
I
mean,
had no
why
idea
wouldn't you
Uganda
be?
were in it.
Like Pakistan, India's fucking boring now. You
I
know
know,
it's
yeah.
gonna
There was
get
that incredible game
overhyped.
in 20 whatever the Australia one was when I think Cody got that 70 odd at the MCG when it was like 100,000 people in there. That was an insane game, but they rarely live up to that hype. So, um,
It always feels
England
like
Australia
one of
never
those
does.
teams are just kind of on the verge of bottling and choking.
But yeah, 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 100%. Um, so yeah, and I couldn't care less about England Australia if I'm honest. So yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, let's I'm ready to watch Uganda. That's the one I'm ready for. Um, cool. Have you got any other T20 stuff? I don't.
No,
Shall we move on to the county championship?
yeah, all right,
So last time we did the wheel, the county raffle, um, and you got Essex and
mm,
I got Hampshire. Um, Considering one team has gone much better than the other, would you like to start with Essex?
sure.
Any initial thoughts? I would say it's been a very busy month for me, so I've not really followed it as much. I've kept an eye on most of the scorecards, and I've watched a few little games, but it's also been a lot of rain. But how have you found the Essex boys?
I mean, they're fucking smashing it. We're joint
Yeah,
top,
yeah,
obviously,
yeah,
with Surrey.
yeah,
Elgar been smashing it.
yeah.
Was it Nater and Cook? And there's another bowler that's been in quite. I think it's Porter that's been doing quite
Yeah, so
well.
Porter and
I think
Porter and
Snater's the
Cook.
one. I think,
So,
yeah,
go
Snater
on.
has been, I think, as well, been getting a good few wickets.
Hmm.
Critchley's been like chiming in with wicket. Yeah. I mean, they're smashing it.
They are. They just got a very good team. Getting Dean Elgar, I think, is an excellent. Um, Especially after Cook going, having Elgar there is great. He's had 4 games, 385 runs at an average of 64. It's just perfect for the top of the order. But the bowling is something I think is very good. Um, so, but Cameron Steele is top of the wickets for this year. He's got 21 for Surrey, because Surrey are always up there, because when are they not?
Mhm.
But at 2 and 3, you've got Jamie Porter, Sam Cook, and then at 4, like you say, you've got Slater. So 3 out of the top 4 are Essex bowlers. So yeah, Porter with 19 at 17, Cook at 18 at 10, and Slater 15 at 17. So that's to be also as well that the first 3 rounds or 2 rounds were the Kookaburra ball, where people were getting stupid runs, like Sam Northeast got a triple hundred, just runs everywhere. But in that first round, Sam Cook, I think, got a hat trick. He got 6 for 14 against Notts. Um, and I think is very much knocking on that England door. Um, but yeah, no, Essex has just been great. I mean, I knew they were going to be good as soon as you. It's just they were just always. I think they've just got good players. They've also Jordan Cox as well. I think I said last time that he's one to look out for. Because he went from Kent to Essex. He's had 4 games, 331 runs, at an average of 66. He absolutely smashed. I think it was 100 was against Kent as well. He absolutely smashed it all over the place. So I imagine there's some bit bad blood there. Um, so yeah, like you say, joint top. Um, and I think it would be between them and Surrey. I know it's early days, but I think they are the 2 strongest squads, regardless of how many games you're playing. And to get 2 results out of the 4 games, where nearly every other team has just had lots of draws or no results. Um, yeah, smashing it.
Like even in the two games that were drawn, it looks like they were really on top and looking set to win those games.
Mhm.
Anyway, especially I think the Kent game, whereas the Kent game, yeah, the Kent game, they needed three more wickets
Yeah,
to
yeah,
win.
they could have easily, but yeah, could have,
Yeah,
yeah. But you had Jaden Denley, another Denners, um, hold on at the end there. But yeah, you just look at all their scorecards and you just see that they are. I mean, they had a good game against Durham, but again, that was a lot more rain affected because it was up in Durham. And again, I think Durham are one to look out for this season. But yeah, all the other games they absolutely bossed. Um, so yeah, I guess you've kind of just checked the scorecards rather than following as we've gone on so far. Or have
Yeah,
you had any more interest?
I pretty much just follow the scorecard. We'll get on to your Hampshire boys because I've got a bit more to say on the overall following
Okay, cool.
of
Right.
county stuff.
Okay, so Hampshire boys, just complete forgettable nonsense. Like they have played for no, they've played for in inverted commas, lost one, drawn two, and won no result against Durham, which was all 4 days were washed out in that first week when Essex won. So I was loving that when that happened.
I swear
Um,
Essex were the only game
Essex
to
were the only
complete
one, yeah,
that week one.
yeah, and I think every other game was a draw.
Yeah.
So that was fun. Um, I mean, I'm just looking through the top run scorers, wicket takers. So Dawson is up there, wicket takers ish. He's got 12 wickets at 33, best of 546. Um, I mean, there's been a lot of arguments he's been underbowled by Vince this year. A lot of people have been telling me that Hampshire have got quite a lot of young players without any kind of talisman players, I guess. Obviously, got people like James Vince, but you got people like Nick Gubbins, who's had a good start to the season. But he's kind of like he's a good player without being a great player, with no disrespect. Um, whilst you look at every other kind of county team, there's kind of you look at that lineup and you'd be like, oh, that team's got Dean Elgar, or that team's got Ollie Pope, um, etc. Or people really making a mark, and it's kind of Vince. I think is the leading run scorer so far. Let me just double check for ye. Um, sorry, a standby. That is Essex. I want to get off Essex. I don't want to see Essex.
No, we all want to stay on the Essex train,
Um, oh no, it's gone. What a shame.
just like
Um,
Hampshire's matches. Their stats
teams.
have been rained off.
Yeah. It's just rain all the time, isn't it? Um, no, no, I don't want the IPL. Actually, maybe I do. Um,
We
okay,
should,
cool. It's not telling me, which is good.
maybe we should
Um,
do a wheel for an IPL team. And
that maybe yeah, that would be fun,
yeah,
maybe. Um, so let me just have a quick scroll down until I get to a Hampshire player. So Nick Gubbins has had a good start. Like I said, he's got 293 runs, an average of 73. Can't really um tell you nose up at that. But it's just been lots of collapses. And again, I'm scrolling down and I'm still scrolling and I'm yet to find the next kind of Hampshire player. Uh Prest, 159 runs, an average of 39. But the fact I'm just having to keep going down, Vince, for example, 3 games, 126 runs, an average of 25, and he's one of your senior players. And you compare that to, a Jordan Cox or a Dean Elgar or Rory Burns, all of those kind of players who will be getting runs, Dom Sibley, recognised players who are churning out runs in county championship. And I just don't see anyone in Hampshire doing that. No one's setting the world alight. And I think their loss, especially to Surrey, was bad. I know it's very easy to say. I'm pretty sure they lost by an innings. Yeah, so they were 151 all out in that first innings. Um, Surrey then got on 359. Um, but I think, yeah, so Hampshire had them 44 for four at one stage and then let them get 359 and then collapsed to 197 all out in the second innings. Um, so it's just been meh. Like I never like whenever I tuned in, I know like Gubbins, I said Gubbins got runs and stuff, but it just looks very just ordinary. Um, and I think when you're trying to draw people into county championship or cricket, I've not ever looked at the scorecard from Hampshire's this year being like, I need to see this session now. Like, for example, like Essex playing, like Jordan Cox smashing Kent all over the place, like, I want to watch that innings, or Dean Elgar getting runs, or, Duckett for not scoring quickly, or Alex Lees, those kind of stuff. Um, yeah, Hampshire have just been, yeah. That's my review. And I think that where they are in the table kind of just exemplifies that.
The wheel giveth and the wheel not giveth.
Yeah, that's accurate. Okay, so seamlessly there was not a single break there in that moment. So
Ah.
you said you had a point about the county championship.
So your idea with this was to see like, how easy it was to follow, how accessible the matches
Yeah.
were, and like as a like cherry on top, how like connected and bonded we would become with Hampshire and Essex,
Yeah.
which I think we're both struggling with
Yeah. Yeah, I think
for
so.
different reasons. Hampshire are meh,
Yeah.
and like personal, obviously it's a random wheel spinning, so we're not going to feel that authentic
Yeah.
bond with them. Like maybe they'll come through the season,
Yeah, as it goes on.
but like I also struggle. I don't want to be too like glory supportery with
Yeah, yeah,
because one because it's random, two because it's just a bit cringe, isn't it?
yeah.
So like,
Essex forever.
so like, how easy have you found it to actually follow them, like through
Um,
scorecards or videos, watching?
yeah, I mean, normally I live off Cricket Info anyway.
Mhm,
So, I mean, whenever there's cricket going on, it will be um me basically watching it through that. Um, I say watching, looking at it through that and updating it. But I will be honest, there are some days I forget there's cricket on. I think it's probably because it's been a crap April again, and it's been rainy and it's been cold and rubbish. Um, so when there's been so many draws or days rained off, I just forget to even check. Um, Potentially maybe when it's brighter out or it's sunnier and I'm kind of in a more cricketing mood, maybe I'd be more incentivized. If they were playing down the road and I could go along to see a final session or something, maybe then I'll be a bit more invested. Um, I found it difficult to watch the streams.
mhm.
Um, because I don't know, like I think they're good because at least you can have people you can now actually watch the action. Um, but I don't know. I think they're just for a different kind of cricket fan than I am. Um, I don't know if it kind of makes me feel a bit snobbery in the way that I want to see the cricket. But like, if you actually had, like how you'd watch proper broadcasted football or whatever, or with cameras all around the ground and audio effects, we can actually hear the bat on ball and stuff. Um, just seeing one usual stationary camera and the BBC commentary over the top. Um, I don't know. I struggle with. Bless them. I think it'd be like a lovely thing to do as a job to be a cricket commentator for the BBC and just watch Hampshire forever. But like, I remember just tuning in one day and I can't even that they weren't. It's just they weren't talking about the cricket. It was just like talking about some random topic as if you were there at cricket with a mate and just chatting. I'm like, I'm not. This isn't really what I'm watching it for. Um, but I understand that people will enjoy that and find joy in that. But I would just kind of prefer proper coverage, I suppose. I guess a higher level coverage, but I know you're not going to get that for county championship. So maybe if it gets to the T20 Blast or something, when I'm seeing a bit more games on Sky or stuff like that, maybe I'll feel a bit more of that kind of connection. But I think I'm struggling to connect with a team through scorecards and less so through streams, which I struggle to watch. And I don't want to say anything from the streams because I think they do good for not much money, but it's just like it's not me, I guess.
Yeah,
Does that make
and
sense?
yeah, and it sounds like they're predominantly radio commentary,
Yeah. Yeah.
and like it's going to be inherently different anyway. It's just they
Mhm.
can't separate the two things. Like radio has to
Yeah.
be constantly talking, constantly
Yeah.
telling you every detail that's happening because the listeners need that because they can't see what's
Yeah.
going on.
Hmm. For
And
sure.
like another thing you mentioned was like you forgetting when they're on.
Yeah.
Like that's part of the quirk of a cricket schedule anyway. Like they
Yeah.
start whatever day. Like they seem to try and get the weekends
Yeah.
for every fixture. But it's like
Uh-huh.
you can't really you have to know and look into it and research when the games are happening.
Yeah. For sure. Definitely.
Like week to week. I know there's a Premier League game on, and I know there's going to be at least four games televised through Sky and
Yeah,
TNT, and I know what time they're going to be, and they're going to have great coverage. But
yeah,
you don't get that with the County Championship. They're not going to be on Sky at all. Like
yeah.
the cricket channel is probably going to have highlights of some obscure England game from 2006.
Oh yeah, or the IPL or whatever, because that's the money, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah. But like once you get to the Blast and the 100, it's televised everywhere. Like
yeah,
100 was on terrestrial, wasn't it,
yeah,
last season?
yeah,
Like I think that is how they're trying to get new fans into the
yeah.
county system. And it makes sense because it's a shorter format. It's more digestible for an audience.
Mm.
But, and like they are shorter games and they're going to be sort of evening times anyway.
Yeah.
You don't have to like be aware of what's happening at 10 o'clock in the morning. You can
No,
be,
no, yeah.
oh, but there's a T20 Plus game on at 7 o'clock. I can watch that for a couple of hours
Yeah,
before
for
going to
sure.
bed.
Yeah. Um, I think there is a game being televised tomorrow on Sky. I think it's Lancashire Kent.
Mhm.
So neither are our teams.
No,
Um, but I remember previous years when they've done county championship stuff on Sky, they've used the same stream from online, but with like, you know, the
yeah.
commentators. And I think that's also just a bit of a shame. Like, again, it's nothing taking away from the streams, which are good, but like you've Sky have got the resources to take decent cameras and stuff down to a county championship game and get actually good televised footage from it. So if I tune in tomorrow and it's that, I'm gonna be it sounds snobbery, but I'm gonna be disappointed because I'm like I want to see, a high level Sky quality cricket game, and because county championship cricket is a high quality as well. You've got so many international class players in it, a lot of test players playing. Like Harry Brook and Joe Root absolutely smashed hundreds the other day, which I'm sure would have been great to watch. Um, but yeah, I know what you mean. Maybe if Hampshire play a game down, I mean they just lost to Surrey, didn't they? So I didn't go to that one. Um, so that's no, I mean I think I was in Italy, so that's probably why. Um, but if they play like a blast game, maybe I'll try and go and connect. But I love the idea of going to a county championship game and just watching it for a day. Um,
I mean,
but also,
it's funny you say that because
yeah,
I was looking at Essex fixtures
yeah,
and Essex are at home the day after we have our first Whippets game.
okay, yeah,
So I'm just putting that on the table
maybe, yeah,
while
potentially,
while we're recording.
yeah. We can click it. Is it a county championship or is it a
It is.
blast?
It's Essex v Warwickshire, and it kind of
Oh, that could be a
got
good game.
yeah, right. Like it got me looking at the ticket prices as well, and I thought
Yeah.
I'd compare those to Cheltenham Town.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah,
Essex,
it's probably a good thing. Yeah. What's the prices?
yeah. So Essex, £18 to 20, depending if you book in advance or not for adults,
Okay.
pound for
Yeah.
children, which I think sounds okay. The £6 for children, I think, is pretty good. The 18
Yeah.
to 20, I think, is a bit dear, but it's Essex. So
Yeah.
like Cheltenham, you've got £18 to 26 for adults
Yeah.
and £7 to £12 for children, like depending on which stand you go in.
Yeah. Sure.
It's like, sorry, I think it was £16 for Essex. So Essex are a
Okay.
couple of quid cheaper on the very
Yeah.
cheap end.
You would get, more sport to digest as well, wouldn't you? You'd watch it from 11 till 6,
I,
basically.
potentially,
Um,
though, like one of the benefits of a football match is it's not going to get called off unless something severe happens.
yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
have
True.
that guarantee with
Yeah.
cricket.
Yeah.
Like I think the Cheltenham prices have a better value for money because
Yeah.
of what you're getting out of it. It's like you don't really account for like the crowd as well. Like you don't
Yeah.
know who's going to turn up for a county championship game, how many
No, not
people
at
are going
all.
to be there. Like
Yeah.
whenever I've gone to a Cheltenham game, it's always packed or nearly packed, and
Yeah.
it's not the greatest atmosphere. It's like shit most of the time. But there is still that inherent buzz you get from like just having
Yeah. From a full
a
crowd
few
and yeah.
thousand people in one
Yeah.
place.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Yeah, I think like Surrey, for example, against Hampshire, um, they got a couple of thousand in, I think, on one of the days. And I think that obviously makes a much better vibe. I think the price is actually quite interesting. So maybe um fans of Just Not Cricket will remember last year when I did a comparison of the T20 Blast prices, and that caused a fuss. Um uh maybe we can look at something similar for the county championship because
Yeah,
I feel like if you want to get people into the game, then I think personally you should be looking at £10 max, basically, for a day at the county championship, considering three-quarters of the ground is going to be empty. Um, I think that's fair. I mean, you want to get people in somehow. I remember when Lords caused a fuss either last year or the year before, and every other ground in the country was free after tea to go and watch. But then Lords was still charging like full price or half price or something. It's like, no, come on. Like, just it's after tea, it's free. Just let people in, then they spend money inside. Um, so that's interesting. Yeah, I think prices is an interesting thing, and potentially we can go, but we'll see. Have to drive to Essex. Um, we'll find out. But yeah, I think if we can, I would like to go to one Hampshire game and one Essex game. I mean, regardless of the format, I
yeah,
guess at
that's the
some point
dream.
this summer. We'll find a way somehow. Um, but yeah, maybe it'll be different in May when it hopefully gets a bit sunnier and you get the blasts and stuff coming along soon. So different formats and stuff. Um, but yeah, county championship, county woo or county ooh.
County Howie.
Yeah. Right. Slight wrapping up time, I guess. Last little bits. I've got a very brief silly point for you. I don't really want to spend too much on it because I think it is absolute nonsense. Um, silly point of the week. Um, if I said MP for MP, would you know
No,
what
um,
that? Have you seen?
no, but I know what MP stands for, and it's not the political. No, my head's gone. That's not happening.
Former England cricketer
No,
Monty
no,
Panesar
no, no.
has been unveiled as a general election candidate for George Galloway's Workers' Party of Britain. Mr. Panesar said he wanted to represent the working class people of his country in Parliament, and he's going to stand for Ealing Southall in West London.
You are right. We don't need to give that any more time than it.
No, it's just absolute stupid. He said in his thing, I want to be an MP to help the working class and become Prime Minister one day. He also said earlier this month or earlier this year that who knows, if I have a really good season, maybe I could come back to professional game. We don't have many spinners in the first class arena. If James Anston, who's a much better cricketer, can play Test cricket, why not Monty Panesar at the age of 41? It's not going to happen, Monty. Um,
Does he know if he were to get elected prime minister, he doesn't have to change his name to Panas Monty?
oh yeah, he should, shouldn't he?
Yeah,
But it's yes, MP for MP, literally. It's been a complete car crash. It's been like almost not funny. Like it started off being like this is stupid, and now it's got to a point where he's doing interviews, and he's literally says, "I don't know what NATO is, but we don't need NATO," or like, "I don't understand things like Gaza or whatever this stuff," and it's like, Monty, what are you doing? It's just I'll it's he did one interview for Times Politics the other day, and it's one of the worst things I've watched, and it's just I felt my brain melt. People watching it would have seen it. I might send it to you just so you can also share in the pain. It's just I he doesn't he was asked as well about he was given a quiz on one show to be like, oh, you need to tell us which of these is your party's manifesto. um, and I think he got every single one wrong. And they were like, "Oh, is this in it?" He was like, "Yes." He's like, "No, it's not." Is this one in it? He's like, "No." He's like, Yes, it is. So it's good that he's gone into a political career not having a clue what he's talking about. So MP for MP,
I, I,
a steady point, if you will.
it's very silly. Yeah,
It's ridiculous. It's stupid. Um, so yeah, it's getting enough traction of stupidity as it is. So I feel that it's going to be a short-lived career. Um, but yeah, that's all I'm gonna um do on that really. Did you have a just not crick,
I did. We don't want to talk about cricket anymore, and like,
especially now?
no, why would we? Fucking insane, utter nonsense. That
Yeah.
stupid. Uh, I don't. Yeah, right. We've actually seen each other in real life recently.
We have.
Yeah, we both did a quiz on other opposing teams.
We did. We jointly won.
Uh, we being my team won.
Yeah.
But like one of the questions stood out to me because the answer was so stupid. Like the which of these sports was not in the Olympics?
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember
Like
that.
the options were tiddlywinks, poodle
Yeah.
clipping,
Yeah.
um, tug of war, and pistol dueling.
Yeah.
And like naturally, pet grooming isn't going to be in the fucking Olympics,
Yeah.
but it was. Apparently, poodle
Apparently.
clipping is in the Olympics. So I just had a little Google for like other silly
Yeah.
Olympic sports. Like there's plunge for distance where you just like lay in some a body of water and see how far you go.
What?
Right?
How much space are you gonna need?
I don't know. I think the winner did 63 feet for in 1904. So
So what? So you just stay still?
I don't know.
How's
I
that work?
I don't know. Like there's a 200-meter swimming obstacle race, which there isn't enough of in the Olympics.
And
You've got
so
I
so
don't know.
is that
I've not read
okay?
into it. I've just looked.
I'm just intrigued. Sorry, go
I
on.
know, right? There's two-hand javelin, which I think is well mental, just double fisting some
Jesus
javelins.
Christ. Yeah.
And there is one which I've not read into called
Yeah.
motorboating.
Ah, as a Olympic sport.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
that kind of inspired me. Like there's the 2024 Olympics coming in a couple of months.
Yeah.
So I thought we'd just quickly go through each of the sports or events happening in the Olympics and be
Okay.
like, we either shove it out or we keep it in
Okay. Yeah.
based on is it stupid and shouldn't be in there
Yeah. Is
kind
it
of thing.
interesting?
Yeah. Like, is it the pinnacle of this? I don't even know
Yeah.
if
Is
sport
it
is the
the
right word because sport that some of these aren't fucking sports.
no? How many are there?
There's a few, so we'll go. That's why we're doing it quickly.
We'll
Okay.
speed run
Yeah. Archery, in or no?
in.
In. Artistic gymnastics.
But what's the difference between that and gymnastics?
I don't know.
If we have normal gymnastics, get it out.
The, the artistic one is like with the swirly ribbons
Oh,
on.
get
Yeah.
no bin.
Cool.
Sorry
Artistic
for all our
swimming.
Olympic fans.
Cool.
No
Artistic swimming.
bin,
Yeah.
bin.
Athletics, which I think makes up
Yeah,
the majority of the Olympics.
yeah. So in.
Okay. Badminton.
Oh, is it in? I guess.
Yeah. It's the pinnacle of badminton, isn't it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, we wouldn't ever be anywhere close to the level they play. So yeah, in
Yeah.
sure,
Basketball.
in
Basketball three times three.
bin.
Yeah.
Just
Beach
have
volley.
basketball.
Yeah. But like if basketball needs like a bigger growth of influx from other countries for it to be competitive and not just
Yeah,
America. Yeah.
yeah.
Beach
But they're
volleyball.
bringing cricket in next time, I think. So that was
I,
also me. So,
I mean,
um,
I'd throw cricket out. I wouldn't have cricket in.
yeah, yeah. Because how do you do it? Yeah, it's because it's yeah. Anyway, what was that one?
Beach
Beach
volleyball,
bin.
cool. Boxing.
I think beach volleyball's great and fun. I just don't see it as like a sport I want to watch. Sorry, what
You're
was the next one?
you are not watching it for the right reasons then, or you're not watching it for the wrong reason.
Right,
Boxing,
next one.
boxing,
Boxing. I don't care about boxing, but I can understand people wanting it in. So
and that
sure, you say.
like I think that's one of the few that is still was it amateurish. and like the
Yeah,
gateway for
yeah, I think so.
younger boxers to get into the sport.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure. I can say I don't enjoy it, but in the same
cool. Breaking. I don't know what breaking is.
breaking because I don't know. Bin
Cool. Canoe, slalom.
canoe slalom.
I don't know. It's where you,
Is there canoeing just normally?
there is canoe sprint.
One can say I don't really care which.
Cool. Cycling, BMX freestyle.
But is that just normal cycling? Sure, it can stay.
Well, here's the rest of the cycling. Cycling
Oh
BMX straight,
Christ.
being cycling mountain bike, cycling road, cycling track.
Cycling track can stay.
Cool. Diving. I've always
Diving, yeah, yeah.
no, I've always thought diving was a weird one. It's just like you
I think
jump
diving
in.
is, but
It
the height and they can do the actual like spins and stuff. I think is insane. That diving is ones I would actually watch.
sure, like it takes a lot of skill, but I'm
Yeah,
just like it. It doesn't scream. I
sure. I would keep it in.
fine. I'll bin it.
Okay.
Equestrian.
Uh, the horse doesn't get enough credit. Um, I don't know. What do
Also,
you think?
is it not like a modicum of animal cruelty to
Sure.
hit
Yeah, I don't agree
animals
with
and
horse
like
racing and stuff anyway. So
yeah,
bin.
yeah. Fencing.
I enjoy fencing, but is it sure you can say
Cool.
if
Football.
they do it really quick? Football, but I don't think football was like the pinnacle of football in the Olympics.
I don't think football's a very Olympic-y
I'd say bin
thing.
personally.
And it's
Get
got
it
that
out.
weird rule of you can, it's under 23s, but you can have three over
Yeah.
however many players. I think
Yeah.
it's stupid that it's in a golf.
Yeah. Golf? No.
Yeah. Handball,
No.
hockey,
Yes.
judo,
Yes.
marathon swimming,
Yes.
modern pentathlon,
I don't know what's
which
modern about it.
I don't know. I would assume that comes under athletics as well, but
Yeah. If it's under athletics, it can stay.
yeah. Rhythmic gymnastics, which I think this is the one with the twirly
Bin.
nipples, tackles. Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, bin.
Rowing,
Rowing,
yeah.
sure, it can stay.
Rugby sevens,
No. If we're not getting football, I can say no rugby.
but it's rugby sevens. I don't
Does
know
that
what,
matter?
I don't know.
No, bin.
Sailing,
No.
like shooting,
If we kept archery, then shooting stayed.
skateboarding. Why skateboarding it?
I'm gonna say stay.
No, no. If we're banning so many cycling events, we're banning
Okay, fine. Skateboarding
skateboarding,
can go. Yeah.
sport climbing.
If it's skateboarding but track,
Sure,
yes.
okay.
Sorry, go on.
Sport climbing.
Climbing. So basic climbing.
Sport climbing.
I don't know what sport climbing is. Is it rock climbing or is it?
I don't know. I think they wanted to have it categorized as a sport because climbing isn't a sport, so
Okay,
they just
then
put sport in front of it, and now it's sport climbing. Or it's like, I'm carrying a football up this wall.
yeah.
It's sport climbing,
Um,
isn't it?
yeah, because we don't know bin.
Cool. Surfing.
But this is the thing, like, can you do surfing and when you get have like a was surfing at like the London Olympics? I-
I don't know.
No, bin.
Cool.
I love surfing. It's
Swimming.
like swimming, yes,
Table tennis.
yes,
Taekwondo.
sure.
Regular tennis.
What?
I don't.
Sure,
No,
sure,
if
sure.
we're
If we're bidding football, rugby, and
yeah, and if we're not having cricket, then you can't have tennis because
yeah,
like there are at least five events that are bigger
yeah,
than the Olympics for tennis.
sure, agree.
Trampoline.
No, I know, but their trampolining would be amazing. But all I can think of trampolining is just like kids trampolining in the garden. But I know that they probably do all the flips and
I
do it very good.
yeah, I think at no point are we diminishing the skill that it takes to do any of
I can bounce
the
on the
events.
trampoline.
Sure, but can you do a triple somersault and
I've not
twist?
tried.
Fair enough.
No, we are
Triath
not diminishing.
cool.
Triathlon,
Triathlon.
yes,
Cool. Volleyball.
yes, yes.
So w- if it's on a beach, it can get fucked.
Bin.
But regular on a
Yeah. Yeah.
wooden sort of
Tarmac.
varnished court, yeah, court. Water polo,
No. Wait.
weightlifting,
No. No. Ah, yes.
wrestling.
How does wrestling work
Mm,
in Olympics?
who knows?
We need Connor on. Put an asterisk next to wrestling and we'll get Connor on next time.
Okay, I don't think it's the WWE wrestling, and I don't think it's the big, like, huge fat babies doing the wrestling.
Sure. I don't really know enough, so
No.
bench it.
Cool. So we have changed Olympic sports forever. That
Okay.
that is all.
And people may hate us. I also I don't know if it's as bad. I just don't really care about the Olympics.
No, I don't.
I've just never I find some of the stuff interesting. Um, but never enough to like it's always on all day, isn't it? I
Mhm.
think
Like I don't.
cricket is. But
Yeah.
like uh I just don't know. There's never really been anything I've been like, I really need to watch this because I'm really interested. I think sometimes like some of the swimming, like I said, I used to watch the diving, um, cycling sometimes, I guess, but they're not really stuff and sports I play.
Mhm.
Um,
Like that's the thing I don't get about it. I don't understand how you can suddenly be so invested in a thing that you've clearly
yeah,
not been following
yeah, I know.
for at least the last 4 years because that's when the last Olympics were.
Yeah,
Like there's
I can't
no
even remember the last Olympics.
fucking way that you're following whoever's in the Taekwondo.
No, not you're not.
Or
No,
like
no way. Yeah. And
like
it's always it's again these achievements are amazing for these particular
yeah,
athletes, but it's always like when it's like a young 18, 19, 20 year old and they get a bronze or a silver or something and they always like are heralded as this next big thing and no one will talk about them again until the next Olympics because no one cares about athletics in
yeah.
between. And it's like it's always the way like oh so and so has done this. And it's like cool, well done. And then he asks 2 weeks later, who is that? Oh. It's
And it
just
always
not like
yeah,
you say, it's not sport where people like football or anything, or not saying that our sports are better, but whatever. But I mean, it's just like it's people are invested all year round in teams sports, Olympics. I think there are, and I have got friends who are invested in kind of athletics and that kind of thing, and that is fine if you are. But I think the majority of people only watch the Olympics, which again is also
yeah,
fine. I don't really want to say like you can't enjoy the Olympics because we don't, but I've just never vibed in the same way.
yeah. Look, the issue is not with people enjoying it or like a certain event being their life because they're
Yeah,
aiming to be in the Olympics. That's great.
yeah,
The issue I have is like the fake, oh, I suddenly love X
yeah.
events now because it's the Olympics now. So
Or
I,
because Team GB have done suddenly well in this, and
yeah,
yeah,
their tribal patriotism
yeah, it's a bit,
just
yeah,
like comes out on top as opposed to like tribalism with certain Premier League football clubs that like
yeah,
spirals us into a down
state of depression.
abyss of depression. Yeah.
Yeah, um,
But that we're not talking about this, just not Craig.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
We're not
it's fine. Yeah,
not today.
not maybe probably next time. But yeah, I mean, I'll give it a look when it comes round because the stuff I was interested in was always the swimming kind of stuff
Mhm.
because I really enjoyed swimming growing up. That was my thing that I kind of wish I'd pursued more. Um, but yeah, I
Yeah.
struggle with much else. I
Yeah.
think when you see people do things that you could possibly never do or think of doing, that's when it's like, oh, that's really cool. That's amazing.
Mhm.
Um, but like I say, when it's trampolining, I don't really care.
I think if anything, the Winter Olympics is much more
Oh
exciting.
yeah, yeah, that's insane. Yeah,
Like,
and next time we're doing that one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's our next, just not
Yeah,
with
Olympic editions. We've moved
yeah.
on from Rings of Power. It's now Olympics.
We are changing the Olympics world forever. We're the Olympics committee now.
Really Olympics now. But I was that was an unexpected, just not crick, and I did enjoy it.
Good. That's what I always endeavor.
Yay.
And sometimes
Um,
succeed.
yeah. But that's crazy. We have done just not crick and a silly point and normal cricket news in one episode. That's got to be a first for a long time. Um, so if you managed to get it through all of that, thank you very much for listening. Have
You
you
crazy.
got any yeah, have you got any farewell messages to our beloved listeners?
Uh, how we the lads?
Up the Hawks, I
Yeah,
guess. Um,
it's the only
if
way they
you're
can
sorry,
go. It's the
no, they can keep going down. Um, so we will be back next time. Um, I imagine it will probably be after the next round of county championship and stuff, some point in May. I know England play Pakistan towards the end of May. Maybe we'll review that end of that series. And then the T20 World Cup starts in June, so there will be more stuff from us soon. If people want to stay um, up to date where we're going to be putting all our stuff out, where can they follow us?
our stuff or like following Essex, smashing it in the county
No, just
championship.
not CrickPod.
Oh, because we can't smash it in the county
No,
championship.
no, no, we can't. We can try.
Just not Crickpod, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube.
Yeah, I
What
do.
I forget where we are sometimes.
We're kind of mostly everywhere. If you want to find us mostly, it'll probably be Twitter or TikTok. So there's the places. Um, I say that because they're just our biggest following. So thank you everyone who follows us on there. If you're also interested in the Wicked Whippets and how we go this season, we have our first game in just over a couple of weeks. Um, so that'll be fun. We'll put updates on both the Whippets page and Just Not Crick pages for fun and hilarity and how many we can lose by or win by. Um, but yeah, that'll be soon. Crickets are on the corner, around the corner. Um, that's about it. Have you got anything else?
I don't know. I've already said my funny goodbye thing with Towie the lads, and now I feel a little bit awkward that
I shall say
I've
Towie the
already.
lads.
Okay,
Towie the lads.
I'm
Yeah.
proud. Yeah, well done. I'm
Yeah.
proud of you.
Thanks. Go on the Hawks.
Boo.